like almost 40% of girls who spend more than 5 hours a day on social media have like show symptoms of depression. I want to get you guys' take. Why do you feel, and I'm pretty sure a study also showed that it affects, so social media affects girls negatively more than it affects boys. Why is that? You talked a bit about body image before, Cheyenne. You think that's the main thing that really happens there for young girls and even girls your age?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, like, I can speak from my experience as well as, like, my friends, what they voiced to me is, like, you are constantly, like, looking at yourself in the mirror, and I know with myself, whenever I see a reflective of anything, I look at myself, I'm like, okay, like, what's happening, da-da-da, and it's not even, like, a conscious thing that I do, it's, like, a subconscious almost, and my friends are like, why are you looking at yourself in the mirror? I'm like, well, I want to make sure, like, I'm doing okay. And when I was growing up, I was looking at social media and, like, browsing Instagram and being like, oh, I wish I was this person. Oh, I wish, like, this part of me was, like, because I am a thin girl. So, like, I always wish that I had, like, bigger thighs and that my spine didn't show and stuff like that. So, like, growing up and having that social media platform, I was like, oh, look at this. And then I'd show my guy friends, and my guy friends are like, oh, look at that girl's boobs. And I'm like, I'm a flat-chested girl. I have nothing on that. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, okay. So, like, it was always, like, myself comparing, like, with other people that I had no idea who I am. It wasn't until basically I hit my 20s until I looked at myself in the mirror and I looked at myself on social media and I was like, if I am not being my raw, authentic self and I'm not being true to myself, then I'm just depriving myself of happiness. Like, I need this happiness in my life, and social media, for me, was very negative. So I turned off my notifications for my social media. I've turned off my apps, like how you were saying that your friend was like, oh, just get rid of social media. It'll help you, da-da-da. If anything, once I got off social media, I was like, well, what am I missing? What's this going on in this person's life? What's happening? And, like, that was hard for me. So it was almost like I had to go and, like, take a step back and be like, reevaluate myself, because from a young age, I was heavily influenced by social media. And am I proud of it? No, but it's, like, made me who I am today, right? So it's just, like, it's difficult, but at the same time, like, you're going to be on social media. No one's really going to stop you from being on social media. You just really have to be able to, like, control what you're seeing. And, like, some of the times you'll be talking out loud and your phone will go and Google, and on Instagram it'll show up the thing that you're talking about, and you're like, is my phone bugged? Like, it's like, oh, I'm talking about bikinis. Next thing you know, it's like this girl in a bikini and an ad pops up and you're like, oh, like, what's going on? So, like, it's very hard for me in that aspect.
I would say maybe one point which strikes me in terms of, like, what the issue could be for women compared to men. We have to acknowledge that females, although this might not be the experience for every female, body image has been a part of our femininity for centuries. Like, this is way before even social media became a thing. So it's part of, the female experience. We have to be very aware and conscious about how we look, about how we present ourselves, generation after generation. So now with this new, very, very new technology, this new idea of social media and how females approach it, is just a different way of addressing our body image and how that is for each and every single one female. Like Cheyenne was saying earlier, you go on social media, you see a picture, and you start to examine yourself. Every single picture that you scroll past, you examine yourself. Every little thing, how your eyes look, how your nose looks, how your body looks, whether it's big, whether it's small. And, each time there's a different trend. Maybe skinny was the new trend, but now being thick was the new trend. And it changes every single time. And you start to realize that it's more so what is accepted by the mass instead of what the reality is. Because what are we really trying to get at? Is being skinny the new thing? Because if we look about attraction in a deeper level, everybody's attracted to different things. But I think certain people, they're influenced and their attraction changes based off of what everybody else is attracted to. Maybe somebody might have not liked thick women, but all of a sudden, because it's become something super popular, you might know them personally, and then their outlook starts to change. Well, you know what? Before I used to like skinny women, now I like thicker women. Maybe I want them to have more, thighs, more arms, more buttocks. Like, it really depends. And for females, especially myself in my own experience, I've definitely struggled with body image. Absolutely. I feel like I didn't really experience being too thin or being too thick. However, I think, I became very conscious. I started to work out more. I realized that looking athletic was a thing. And that was something that I was obsessed with. I was obsessed with going to the gym. I was obsessed with looking like the most fittest girl in the room. And now looking at it, I'm like, who am I really doing this for? Let's be really honest. I want people to look at me. I want people to be attracted by me. And I think that's a different conversation that females need to also address. Because, of course, everybody has a different idea of what self-care is or self-love is. People feel like, you know what, you want to look good, that's for you. Don't think about nobody else. That is your own experience. That's how you look at yourself. But for other females, and I personally feel like it is for myself, I consciously know that I'm doing things to get attracted by male counterparts or even female counterparts. Who knows? Depending the female, if they're attracted by both genders. You are doing certain things to look a certain way or to appeal to certain people. So it affects you. It really does. For females, it's a big thing. Body image has always been a big thing. But let's not ignore the fact that body image is a very new issue for males as well. And they're also experiencing it in a different way that we have been experiencing it today.
Yeah, I just want to add to your point about the femininity, because I know all throughout psychology and through my human sexuality course, they're like, oh, women before were only looked at as like the mom, so it's just like her breast supplies food for the children, and then you raise those children. And then now it's more like looking like, okay, we want the women to look like this, and then it was always throughout like history, it was like men are providing the food for the family and the money for the family. And then it wasn't until social media really came out, and it was just like, oh, well, we want the men to look like this. So, like, it came to more, like, women being more sexualized and their breasts becoming especially sexualized, which were before just providing food for the children. But now they're being more sexualized, and I don't want to say, like, men aren't, sexualized at all, because they are, 100%. And especially, like, things like Magic Mike coming out, and, like, guys being a stripper. Like, it was, like, what was that movie called? It had J-Lo and everything, and it had them being strippers. Everyone's like, oh my god, like, that's horrible. Yeah. And, like, they're like...
It's Hustlers, but I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it just to let people know. I didn't watch it, but it's called Hustlers.
I haven't either, but I was just talking from the films. But,
No, I just needed my boys to know I didn't watch it, but keep on going.
Anyway, so, like, all the girls were like, oh my god, Magic Mike, he's hot, he's got abs, da-da-da. And then this Hustlers movie comes out, and all the women are trying to start to empower the women for their sex work, which I applaud. I'm like, you know what? You have that confidence, you have that body. If someone wants to sexualize your body, that's their own doing, but you should not, like, your body's natural. It's always been natural from day one. You're always there. You're there to basically supply life and live. You're there to carry life. So, like, that's just what I wanted to add to your femininity part of it, because a lot of times they're like, oh, well, like, a woman is just like, those are her tits. She pushes them out, da-da-da. It's just like, no, that's not the point that we're getting at here. This is also my very natural body. This is who I am.
Mm-hmm. And also the, like, staying on that point about just that transition from before social media to now we have social media. Like, back then it was more like I was watching this TED Talk from these two girls. It was actually a TED Talk in Ottawa. It's your town, Abel, so shout out Ottawa. But so these two girls were talking about how, it was before, it was more like you're looking at magazines, you're looking at other models, you're like, okay, as unrealistic as attaining that can be, also you still keep in mind those are our models or whatever. But now we've kind of switched into, now it's on social media, and it's not only the models you see on Instagram, it's also your cohort, your other friends, your other girls or guys or whatever it is, that because everybody now can access these apps that help you switch your image, filter and whatever. So it's different. Now it's not only you're looking at people that you're like, okay, they have a high status or whatever, and they look like this. But now you're also looking at your friends. You're like, damn, like my friend too. It's like, do you guys would you guys agree to like that also plays a huge part because now these people are technically on the same like social level as you, but they look like this. You're like, damn.
Absolutely. I would probably go first and say that let's be honest, in 2020, nobody's not using, editing apps to perfect the picture that they have. Like I have before, I'm sure many other females have before, even males, this is the new age, you know what I mean? But like you said, it's an interesting point because before it was very, very exclusive to those who are very professional, those who are in the photography fields, who had access to editing apps and editing programs to obviously perfect the images because it's an industry, right? We need things to look a certain way. But for someone in our social class where we might not have all the resources, where social media is our only platform to showcase ourselves, not on magazines or not on the news, we now have access to these apps. I think I would personally blame the people who make these apps because I feel like now it forces us to feel that we needed to perfect something, at least for me, in my own personal experience. I'm obsessed with it. You want the picture to look a certain way, and I don't even need to do that. So I think it changes the aspect of resources. We have resources like crazy. It's all over social media. There's so many apps, there's so many websites, there's so many ways to edit, there's so many ways to have access to these programs. So it changes the game a little bit. Especially for females who body image has really taken a toll. So now that we know that we can edit our faces and add more makeup one area, tweak a nose or an ear one area, probably our eyebrows another area, we feel like, okay, it doesn't matter how ugly I am, I'm going to take this picture and edit it and that's it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I literally think like the exact same way. Like I personally have not edited like a photo. Like I've added like a filter, but I haven't like done the whole like smile, increase, decrease kind of thing.
Right. No need.
Yeah. Like I'm just like, that's why I started posting like almost like videos now. I did a video of me just standing there in my underwear and a top, just saying like, this is my raw body. This is who I am, because I was so tired of having people accuse me of editing my photos. And I was just like, this is who I am. What do you want? Like, so I literally just went and I turned and did a circle and then that was it. I was like, this is who I am. There was no filter, no nothing. Like, it was all in video.
Oh my goodness. I've been a victim of that. Of that for sure.
Well, cause people are just like, oh, like, it's fine. And I'm like, no, like, in the long run, it can almost turn into BDD, body dysmorphic disorder. Cause you're seeing one little small flaw and you're just trying to perfect it. And like, no amount of plastic surgery is going to get over and help with your BDD besides obviously therapy and medication and stuff like that, right? So like, then you have like this Khloe Kardashian thing that just happened with people like, oh my God, she photoshopped and her necklace is half gone, And I'm like, obviously it shows you like no amount of money and fame is going to make you like love every single bit about you, and it's okay to have flaws. It's a perfectly normal to have stretch marks and acne and everything like that. It's 100% natural. So like, I hate those apps because the thing is, it also helps so many people at the same time. So like, it's very conflicting. You're like, I have so many like negative views about this, but like at the same time, if it helps someone, I am no one to say that, no, you can't do that. Like, if it's going to help you, I understand. But it's also very conflicting for the mental health aspect, right? So. Right.
No, very, very true. Like, even like I was saying earlier, I've been a victim of that too. Like, people just can't deal with the fact that the reality is some people just naturally look good, or they have good genes, or maybe they really do have a disorder, which helps them to, I would say, for the lack of a better term, helps them to look the way that they look. And maybe somebody might look at you and say, well, dang, she's super skinny. I wish I had those thighs. But you don't know that it's because they can't eat. Like, they really cannot eat. It's a disorder that's like really not allowing them to eat the way that they would probably eat. They probably envy you because you can eat as much as you want, and you probably can gain the weight, and you don't even know that. So even from my end, like I said earlier, I do work out, I do go to the gym, and I pride myself in being able to achieve, a physical look just naturally, like being able to go to the gym. But for other people, it's like they can't help it. It's like I use this app. Is that true? Like, are you really this thick, or are you really this big, or are you really, like, are those your abs? Like, it's a constant naggy, I don't know. Like, people just have these views about you, and they think that some things are fake and some things are not. And like you just said, you end up having to post a video to show them that, hey, these are all mine. This is my physique, and this is how I am. I don't have to hide it. And just like myself, I was a victim of that. Going on Snapchat, it's another way to show that, hey, this is how I look, and there's no way of denying it. You know what I mean? So
people shouldn't even be critiquing, but thing is, that's a part of who we are now. Society's made that a norm. They made that critiquing a norm, and it's just like, what benefit is this doing besides tearing us like down and making us realize, oh, I should really change that. It's like, no, that's a part of like who you are. If it's like causing you negative like impact without other people's comments, I understand that, and like, but at the same time, it's just like, it's become literally societal's norm by critiquing people. And that's what I find is just outrageous. It's just like, no, this should not be happening.
Absolutely.